Drop-top DB11 Volante arrives with glorious V8 and chassis tweaks, but do they put this 160-pound K convertible among the best? Verdict: 4.5 big convertible GT cars like this need to make you feel special, and the DB11 Volante fulfills that brief nicely. You don't miss the V12 as the V8's muscularity and noise are more than up to the task here, while the chassis tweaks combine to deliver relatively rewarding dynamics given the Volante's inherent compromises. It's a convincing car with ability that runs far deeper than its striking styling. Elegance is a commodity prized by car designers. Often strived for, seldom achieved. But the DB11 Volante has a genuine style that sets the tone for the rest of the car. It's the first drop-top in Aston Martin's new model lineup, and far from being a simple chop-the-roof-off a DB11 coupe job, the Volante has undergone a thorough reworking and upgrade process to ensure it behaves like a big Aston GT should. Best executive cars on sale 2018. First, the factor that defines the car, the roof. It's a new 8-layer fabric hood that, according to Aston, is class-leading in many ways. From its insulating properties to the devilishly low deck lid when it's folded that caused Aston's engineering and design teams more than a few headaches in the gestation phase, there's more to the DB11 Volante than meets the eye. And what does meet the eye is very pleasant indeed, with clean lines and a very shallow roof giving the car a rakish look. That's helped by its long bonnet, under which sits a 503 bhp 4.0-liter twin-turbo V8 sourced from Mercedes-AMG. The Volante doesn't get the option of the DB11 Coupe's V12 and there are no plans for it to feature in the near future either. However, there are some more interesting engineering details under the skin. In taking the roof off a big GT like the DB11 you sacrifice some structural rigidity, but in a bid to claw some back Aston's engineers have developed a new front cross member to stiffen up the suspension pickup points and the top mounts, while a structural front under tray ties this all in. The wall thickness of the aluminium sills has been beefed up to provide reinforcement and increased resistance to twist, while the rear subframe that carries the suspension and differential features 45% stiffer bushes to negate the removal of the roof, along with a rear cross member that mimics its front counterpart. The result is a car that is 65% as stiff as the DB11 V8, weighs 110 kilograms more, identical to the V12, and steers even sweeter than the coupe. This is one of the Volante's strongest suits, but it's intrinsic to the car and the philosophy Aston has applied. You can trust it on turn-in and there's enough in the way of communication with the front tires to feel the grip and accurately place what is a big car with pretty poor visibility. This extra bite and crisper front end don't come at the expense of comfort though. Even in the softer GT mode it's firm but not harsh, as it feels like there's ample travel in the dampers and plenty of poise to soak up what the road throws at the chassis, with a nice balance between front and rear. This fluidity is rapidly becoming an Aston Martin trait. There's performance to match its GT credentials too. The 0-62 mph sprint takes 4.1 seconds, just 1/10 shy of the V8 coupe, while top speed stands at 187 mph. But there's more to the Volante than just raw numbers. With 675 Nm of torque from 2,000 to 5,000 RPMs, owners are unlikely to ever yearn for more performance than this, while the exhaust note in the powertrain's Sport Plus mode amplifies the engine's brawny character without ever becoming too intrusive. Best Convertible Cars 2018. In the setting the occasional pop on the overrun is well matched to the motor's aggression and response. It pulls smoothly and there's little lag with the boost building quickly to eskew along on a wave of torque. The gearbox responds adequately to manual changes, while the freedom to select the sharper powertrain mode in a more supple chassis setting is welcome. Combined, this all makes it more usable than you might imagine. With the roof down, which can be operated electrically from the key or on the move at up to 31 mph, taking 14 seconds to open and 16 seconds to close, there's not much buffeting or turbulence and it's easy to hold a conversation. You notice a slight increase in the vibrations through the structure as the Volante's composure is tested more vigorously, but the DB11 remains respectably composed and doesn't get too wobbly with its top stowed. There are a few other features Aston's worked on to deliver this level of usability too. Those two small rear seats have ISOFIX points and there is actually enough space for a child car seat. The boot, 20% bigger than DB9 Volante, so around 224 liters, will also swallow 2 sets of golf clubs if you're that way inclined, or a pair of carry-on cases. Inside, there are new trim inlays for the rear of the seats, although there are some areas of questionable quality in a car costing as near as makes no difference to £160,000, those air vents in particular. The heavy rake of the windscreen and big mirrors also mean visibility is compromised in corners, while with the roof up you squint at which you've just passed through a tiny rear window that now sits flush with the hood. However, this is the price you pay for the looks, and their minor compromises in an otherwise impressive package. Key specs. Model, Aston Martin DB11 Volante. Price, £159,900. Engine, 4.0-litre twin-turbo V8 petrol. Power torque, 503 bhp/675 Nm transmission, 8-speed auto, rear-wheel drive. 0-62 mph, 4.1 seconds. Top speed, 187 mph. Economy CO2, 28.3 mpg/230 grams per kilometer. On sale, now.